Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Ryan and I'm back. I took a couple days off. You guys, my babies and I, we went to Mexico to Rocky Point, and it was so fun. You guys, it was so fun. You guys know I'm a mermaid and I love the water. I think the water is spiritual. I love being by the water. I think the salt water like cleanse you, and it's almost like a baptism. You know what I mean? Like there's a correlation there. But anyway, I can go on and on. I'll talk about that another day. Today, I wanted to talk about giving yourself permission to be you, your authentic self, in every shape, form, and fashion. So, the reason why I thought this was a really good topic is because, so for example, myself, I am very peppy and cheerleader, and like I'm typically upbeat, and I'm typically like a bubbly personality. Like if you meet me or if we go out, like I'm like, hi, how are you? Like, you know, I'm a hugger, which I have to stop doing that. Like I have to stop being such a hugger. But in my family, like that's one thing that we've always done. Like it's always like, hi auntie, hi. Like if you're family or if you're a friend, like I'm just a hugger, and I mean I don't mean anything by it, you know. And so anyway, we're huggers, you know. It's like hi, mwah, like kiss on the cheek kind of thing. And I'm, you know, peppy and I'm bubbly, and that's kind of like my reputation, right? That's like my personality. That's how people know me. They know that, yeah, Ryan, she's always positive. Like I always get I love your energy. I always get, oh my gosh, like why are you so happy? Like I always get it. It has been like a constant theme in my life. Okay, so when I am not that way, then people are like, what is wrong with you? Like what's wrong? Like it must be something completely devastating, you know, because you know everyone's not gonna be all the time. We're human. We have, you know, various emotions, and things get to me. It's just when things get to me, I like to hibernate. I back off of people. I like to deal with my issues on my own typically. I don't really like to like burden other people with like my stuff, my things. Like, so, you know, sometimes I may vent, sometimes I may not. Sometimes more than not, I wouldn't, unless a friend is like, what is wrong? And then I'm like, okay. You know, but when I am not in my bubbly upbeat and I'm just like chill, and I'm just like, man, my stomach hurt, or I got a headache, or maybe I'm sad this guy did this, or a friendship, you know, friendship get into it or something like that, and I'm just like, oh man, you know, and I'm not in my upbeat mood, people are like, whoa. And what that has done to me is kind of made me feel like, oh man, I can't show that side of me, you know. And I don't think it has anything to do with the hibernation part of it, because naturally, just like I like to deal with my own stuff, but also it's made me be like, okay, they expect me to be you know. So when I'm not, I really do just want to stay away, because that is kind of something that, like, you know, I just want to have that reality. And I was realizing that that is not good. You know, I don't have to be this positive person 24/7. And me not showing those sides of me has led me in the past to being a people pleaser, right? Because if you think about it, when you're a people pleaser, like you guys, I made a video on this, and I was a person that I always try to help people. If they need money, if they need a place to stay, like it was like, what can I do to help you? And then when some things happen and no one was there for me, and it was just like it was only take, and then when something happened to me and I was like, where's all these people that I helped? You know what I mean? They weren't there. And so that kind of was like, okay, you know, okay, this is interesting, right? And so my whole vent and my whole thing with this video is give yourself permission to be your authentic self regardless of how you feel. You know, in the past, I'm not like that now, but in the past, I would just try to be my positive self all the time. And so if I wasn't in that mindset or mood, I would remove myself and I would kind of hibernate. But now I'm like, okay, sometimes I'm not going to be on 100. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be just like 100%. You know, I may say, that's ugly. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to always be, you know, that, and that is okay. And I just want to give you guys like a friendly reminder that sometimes you have to just be your authentic self. You have to just, I feel like in childhood, we have been probably, you know, you go through different experiences, and out of those experiences, you develop a personality, and that has become you. So if you're known like, oh, she always, you know, this chick always flips out if you say, you know, anything, that kind of becomes you, and you kind of like fill that role. And I was thinking to myself how a lot of us play a part, you know, and it's not necessarily trying to be a fake, but we know that we are perceived in a certain way. And if you vary against that particular perception, then people may look at you differently. And what I am saying is, don't do that. You know, I used to be that way. I used to be just, I'm perfect. Well, not I'm perfect, but I'm positive all the time. But you know what? I'm not. I'm not positive all the time. Sometimes I'm sad. Sometimes I'm mad. I have a lot of things that I work on myself as far as getting over different childhood traumas that has, you know, still affected me in my adult life. And I was even thinking how this kind of goes into like when you're drunk. Okay, let's say like you're drinking with your friends or whatever, or even by yourself, whatever. You're drinking and you get drunk. Everybody, you know, who's of age, when you get drunk, you feel like a weight has lifted. You know, sometimes they say the real you comes out when you're intoxicated, and sometimes that could be like bubbly, that could be like the mean, like whatever you have deep down, like it comes out. And I kind of feel like it comes out because you're free. You're just kind of like free to be whatever that be is. You're kind of free to just, whatever's on the inside comes out to the outside. Okay, and then I kind of was thinking about how a lot of people have alter egos, right? Like Beyonce, she has Sasha Fierce. The rapper T.I., he has T.I.P. Usher versus Raymond. Like there's so many musicians that have alter egos, and they say that when they're in their alter ego, you know, they're more free. They can just do a sexy dance, and it's not Beyonce. That was Sasha Fierce. And I was thinking how deep that is psychologically, that sometimes we have to create a whole other personality to be free, to be able to feel non-judgment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I'm if I'm coming across right, but if you guys really think about it, like psychological, sometimes we're in a jail that we sometimes put ourselves in, that we are like, okay, this is my personality, this is how I've been, right? And so when you start to change, you may be scared of how other people will perceive you, or other people will be like, oh, you've changed. But I'm here to tell you guys, you can change. You don't have to be the person that you were yesterday. And it's so hard to change that people literally make up split personalities so they can do the thing that they want to do without the past memory of different traumas or different fears or different anything. Okay, I know that was like a roundabout way to kind of get my point across, and I hope I'm coming across okay. But what I'm trying to just say is, we're all human people. We're human. We have a range of emotions. No one is going to be one way all the time. And be true to yourself. Be authentic to yourself, to be able to not be afraid to show different sides of you. And not be afraid to just be. Okay? not be afraid to be. Now, even with that being said, I'm not saying like be a jerk face and just say, hey, that's just me sometimes. I'm not saying that. You know, I feel like you can still be a good person, and, you know, even if you're sad or mad, I feel like sometimes people try to say like, oh, I'm mad, so it gives me a right to be disrespectful. Like, I don't believe in that. So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I think that even if you're going through a variety of emotions, I think even still you can still be a good person and you can still show respect and such like that. What I'm saying is be true to yourself, whatever that may be. Don't be scared to change, you know, change for the better. Don't be afraid to show people you, and people who are deserving of that also, because not everybody deserves access to you. That's another little thing. But I'm just saying, like, you know, don't have to use alcohol to have your real side come out, right? Just practice being you. And, you know, sometimes we put little stipulations on ourselves. You know, we're in a box, in a self-contained box, and sometimes we have to break through ourselves. You know, sometimes it's not even external, it's internally. Internally, we put something around ourselves and we're like, okay, I can only do this. You know what I mean? Okay, I can only be this way. But you can be anything you desire. You can think how you desire. You can change the way you think. You can garner different experiences and implement them into your life, and you could be a whole different person. And I'm sorry the AC just popped on. But we need to just make sure that, you know, we give ourselves permission to be our authentic self. So I know that was a little lot, and I hope that it came across good. But I'm just basically saying, be your true authentic self. You know, don't be afraid to put yourself out there and just feel all of your feelings. You know, feel all of your feelings and be you and all that good stuff. So I hope that you resonated with my message. I hope that it came across good. Please, I hope so. And I hope that, you know, you continue to be brave.